G'day YouTube, welcome back to my channel Bonsai Works. I'm David. Today we've got this black pine that we're looking at. It's a customer tree that he'd like some bit more styling done on the tree and a bit more work. It's quite a nice shape already. It's got a very, very big trunk base, but it's had a massive chop at the back of the tree at some stage. You can see the huge wound at the back here that's been chopped off, and a new trunk's been grown and has some nice movement. It's a nice pine, but maybe we can enhance it in some way, get it looking a little bit better. I think for me, I'd like to try and get it a bit shorter, a bit lower down, without cutting anything, just to reduce this part in here a little bit more. I think we're going to need to start with structurally doing that first before I look at a lot of the other areas. It does need to be needle plucked because the old needles are still on. So I'll do that work first, where I pluck the old needles off. It doesn't need those, and just leave the fresh new ones at the tips alone. Let the tree recover from that. But yeah, all the old needles need to come off first, so we can have a better look at the tree, and then we can look at structurally how this tree can be better. There's been a lot of nice movement put into bringing the branches down. However, it's very exaggerated, and I'd like to make that less exaggerated by bringing hopefully this down closer. We will need some heavy guy wiring to get that down, but other than that, yeah, that's the main part before I do all the fine wiring. The roots aren't too bad. These are all dead. They're sticking out and they're a bit dead, but I'll leave that for the owner to deal with. I will clean up some of these gins as well, just to make it look really pretty, but yeah, that's the idea at the moment. So let's clean this tree up, shrink it down a little bit, and see where we end up being. So all needle plucking is coming in, and at the base there's a lot of old needles at this base here, and it's a bit of just plucking them off. We don't need them. They're not going to do anything for the tree. We're only going to keep this new part here. Sorry about the chainsaw next door. I think he's cutting firewood. So I need to get rid of all these old needles. There's no need to have them. They're going to fall off anyway, but at least now I can actually see the actual new part, the best bit. So that's what I'm looking for, this nice new growth, nice healthy bit. That's all I do at this stage for this tree. If it had more candles and buds, we can do a bit more work for it. But at the moment, I'm just going to go back to that much, just for the health of the tree. Really just want to eliminate the really old needles. So I'll just keep going through it all one by one and go through the whole tree. But I just showed you here because if I showed you up here, you wouldn't be able to see, but here you can see quite easily what I'm doing. So I needle pluck from top to bottom because all the needles fall down everywhere and create such a big mess, and it's just very messy to deal with when all the needles are stuck in here as well. So I'm going to needle pluck and then I'll come back. Alright, so after needle plucking the old needles and reducing just the old needles, all the old growth, it wasn't really needed, and autumn is a good time to do that, or early winter, just to remove it all so I can see the structure better. We can see a much better tree now, much better structure. You can see the part that I'm not really happy with, this bit in here, really. That's the only part that I'm not 100% happy with, but everything else is pretty good. We just need to wire out everything afterwards. But I want to try and compact this area here. I'll see if I can get some sort of a bit more, bring this in closer together, and then the apex can sit a little bit shorter maybe. I only need subtle changes. Just by reducing that height, it will actually emphasize the thickness of this base a bit better. I will do some work on these unattractive little gins here, and I want to fix this up, but pretty much predominantly the main thing is trying to compress this area here in the tree. So we're going to do that as a first step. I'm going to set up for it, and then we'll get going. So I've got a couple of guy wires set up. I've got one in here. There's the old one that was there and an old one in there. So I'm going to use all three to try and get this down quite a bit. This one at the back here is really pulling the tree back a bit too much. I was trying to use it, but it's pulling a little bit back, which is good. Pull it back, and then I want to try and bring it down with this one. So I'm going to try and pull it down with this one for now. I'm just going to see if I can use the weight to get it down. Yeah, Probably need to use a clamp, and we'll get to that in a minute. I want to see if I can get this down more with this side. So slowly coming down with the back one a bit, but I really want the forward one to come down, and I'll use this to bring the tree right forward more, just needing a lot more. So by using guy wires is probably the number one thing to do with this tree in terms of pulling it down. So I'll slowly keep doing all that until I'm happy with where it's at. I think I wanted a bit more lower, just getting a bit more down. I would like it maybe there, that trunk to be about in that spot here, just before the horizontal. It's a little bit too much there. I want it to be about there, I think. If I can get it to there, I'll be really happy. And then we'll look at all the other branching. Now, if you don't have other people to help you, a good old clamp like this works really well. So I put it on the trunk here and on the branch I'm trying to bend. I'm going to try and see if I can adjust this with the clamp, and it's just hopefully just using this to tighten a little bit at a time. Just tighten it up. Very nice, almost at the point I want it at. So I'm pretty happy with that bend now. So it's pretty much exactly where I was saying, about that much now, rather than it was that much. So I might go a little bit more, just because I know it sometimes springs back. Okay, that's probably it. Hopefully that's it. Sprung back a tiny bit, which is what I thought it would do, but I'm very happy with that. So clamp comes in really handy if you don't have the help to bring everything right in, with yourself. So that's really nice and tight. The trees, this is good. It's much lower than what was before, so I've done it. I can feel I've done the right thing. That's really tight there now. Got to probably adjust this a little, just because that's not in the right spot. I'll have to get that in the right spot now. All right, so kind of reduced the height of that nicely. Got a bit more movement. I've got the tree coming back this way, which is good, which is where I want it to be. Now it's a matter of just getting all these down where I want them to be. This is a bit too high up. I want to pull that down a bit. Get this probably pulled up back up a little. So it's going to be a bit of adjusting, rewiring this tree. And pretty much that's it. Just rewiring it, putting things in position. But we'll have a look and build the tree up slowly. And we'll see what it looks like. So probably the main change you can see is I've set this first branch, not that, but set this area of the first branch, wide the branch, also guy wide it in to bring it closer into the trunk. It was actually too wide originally, so that's pretty nice width now. Maybe I'll bring it in a little bit more, but I think I'm really happy with that. All wide out, unfortunately there's not enough foliage and not enough buds to really make a nice clean line, but I did the best I could. So I've got a big layer here, another one in there, another one in there, almost creating a nice full effect of a branch in this section here. So that's the start of it. So we start on this first branch that I've called the first branch. It is the lowest, so I'm just going to assume it's going to be the first branch here. I didn't pull that down from there yet. I think I'm going to leave it at that angle. I like the movement, and I think I'll just leave it at that point. I'm going to now move on to this branch and position that, and then keep going up the tree. All right, everyone, so we're getting to the point of finishing off this tree. I've got just all this to put in place. Wide this branch, that branch, the back ones over there, creating a nice little area here in the tree, really nice structure. coming along really well, I think, from my point of view anyway. Now I'm up to just this section. So I've wired it all up, and now I'm just going to place it. And as I normally do with my videos, I don't need to video myself wiring, because that would be just boring as anything. But at least that you can see how I'm going to put all this, trying to put all this apex into place. My only real issue is this. There's a bit of a heavy branch here at the back. I'm going to have to try and twist these branches back in and so on, but to try and get some sort of, it's a little bit pushed out. So that's my only real issue in the tree. Other than that, it should be pretty much straightforward. I will try and keep the angle of the camera there so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I put this branch, wired this branch, even though it's from up here, I've wired it down and to create this nice pad in here. So now I'm just going to follow that kind of structure. I'll have to just position, create fans. Try and create another pad in there, I think. There's a little bit of a one there. I'll just put it in place over here for now. This will have to create a branch in here, which sits perfectly, I think. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right track. I think I've just got to go back and then forward. Okay, now just position him into place. So we're just slowly starting to build the canopy with these branches. Okay. But I need to look, unfortunately. It's a little bit tricky without being able to look at the tree. So I shortened, this branch is quite long, so I've shortened it by going back and then trying to bring it around. It's still a little bit long, so I'm just going to go a bit more. A little bit, this branch is a little bit yucky, but there's a lot of branches here that need time to really develop and fill out. And this tree needs a lot of feeding this year to really get it looking good. Now it's a matter of working with this back branch. I will try and think about where I'm going to put it. I'm going to maybe go backwards in here and create a little bit of a pad in this section. There's a big gap in here, so I'm going to have to try and get that to drop into this spot. So my arm's going to be in the way. Let's have a look. To fill the gap in, pretty good. Just move it over this way a little. So I'm getting there. So I've been able to position these branches roughly pretty good spot. I think most of them. Maybe he's got to come in a bit more. Okay, now I've got these two left. It's a bit of a jigsaw sometimes. Let's have, I think this might have to come up and then down. Now remember, apexes aren't made with just one single branch. Apexes are made up with multiple branches. It's a nice area in here, I think. I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going to put this one. Might have to come back. Alright everyone, so here it is after I've finished the initial wiring. The apex does need some work. There's not enough in there to really create a really good apex on the tree. It just needs to fill out. This tree just needs to recover. It needs a good feeding season, needs lots of water, sun, lots of feed to get it going in the new year, in the new growing season. Otherwise, it's actually looking pretty good. I like it. It's a shorter tree now, much more interesting. Once we get all the paths developed really well, you can start to really see the tree better. There is some really nice pads being built around the tree. It looks really good. I'm really happy with it. The needles aren't the best. The health of the tree is okay. Could be healthier and greener. So probably why it's a little bit doesn't look as good as I would have hoped, but it looks really nice. It's actually, I really like how it's come down a lot in height, thinned out a lot because I got rid of the old needles, and you can see I've really compacted the tree quite a lot from all angles, and now that's the front of the tree. Beautiful. This is the biggest, lowest branch. It's the lowest one. Then up here, the next highest, and work my way up the tree. You almost can't see the big bend and twist now in the tree. Kind of is hidden, which is really good, which is what I was trying to go for as well. I removed some of the ugly roots here, left a little gin here, and that's it. That's really the tree. So probably the key with this was really compacting the top down, putting in extra, compacting this area in here, so now I can hide the big twist a little bit, which is good, which is what I was aiming to achieve. So I'm pretty happy with the overall tree. The proportion of the trunk to the height now is really good. It looks like a really old tree. All right, guys, that's it for this tree, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.